The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report. Hey, yo, you see me switching it up on y'all, you know what I mean? Styling on them, you dig? You know what I mean? Shout out Top Black. I'ma still give y'all this news, though, so check it out. Donald Trump is in the middle of the biggest political crisis of his career. And that's saying a lot, because Holmes is dirty. Like, I mean, I'm talking about, like, crackhead taking a piss dirty. You know what I'm saying? Like, but in this scenario, it actually crossed the line from in the perspective of people on both sides of the aisle. So what happened is a whistleblower who actually turned out to be a CIA official issued a complaint that basically talked about how he used his political office and to get a foreign entity to actually interfere in the 2020 election. Now, this was actually corroborated by a transcript that was released, a rough transcript released of a phone call that he had with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, which actually showed that he attempted to get Zelensky to open up a corruption probe against 2020 presidential candidate Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden, who actually sits on the board of a natural gas company out there in Ukraine. And also in this complaint was that the White House attempted to lock down this transcript of this phone conversation by actually putting it on a different computer with code word level intelligence information. Basically, I guess so they can manipulate it however they want. So it's looking real scandalous, and impeachment proceedings are proceeding. Green War on Graduation. New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report. Yeah, you see me in transit, you know what I'm saying, bag on my back, but I'm still let y'all know what's happening out here. So yesterday they actually had the Director of National Intelligence, actually the Acting Director of National Intelligence, grilled by the House Intelligence Committee. And this guy, Joseph McGuire, actually said that they basically, the Senate, the committee basically wanted to know why he kept that whistleblower complaint against Donald Trump that ended up revealing he was getting the president of Ukraine to open a corruption investigation against Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden. Basically, why he shielded that, after the Inspector General of the Intelligence Committee basically felt that it was credible and urgent. But he basically cited the reasons of the White House having executive privilege over the matter as why he felt like this was a unprecedented, unusual thing to deal with. So, but he made it sure that it was understood that he's not partisan, and he felt that the Inspector General and the whistleblower, who turned out to be a CIA official, acted out in good faith and actually followed the law. Green War on Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report. So for the second Friday in a row, you had hundreds of thousands of school children that have actually taken out of class to have a strike to basically put pressure on politicians to do something about climate change, or to bring awareness to the urgency of the climate crisis currently. Now, this is it was sparked off this time in New Zealand, where you had tens of thousands of school students actually doing this strike. All of this is inspired by 16-year-old Greta Thunberg, the Swedish little white girl who has actually, you know, starting from last year and some change ago, she actually has started taking off from school to protest and bring awareness to climate change. So, and this girl, actually Greta Thunberg, is actually now she's going to be speaking in Montreal, Canada, actually. So, you know, she's traveling, still continuing her plight and bringing awareness. So, you know, shout out to the youngest for taking control of their future, because they are the future. You dig? Green War on Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report. So by 2100, extreme droughts will actually hurt 60% of the world's wheat producing regions. That's according to a study in the peer-reviewed journal Science Advances. So basically, without radical action, climate change has and will continue to increasingly affect wheat production. So, I mean, to all y'all people that's trying to be healthy, eating wheat bread instead of white bread and whatever, like, you know what I mean? Just stay woke. Green War on Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN Report. So 17 attorneys general, that's the plural for attorney general, right? 17 attorneys general from 17 states have actually joined a lawsuit against the Trump administration for them basically rolling back the provisions in the Endangered Species Act. So what it's supposed to do, these rollbacks actually made it so that economic considerations can take play when labeling an animal as endangered. It also limits the power of scientists to actually make climate change related provisions, and it also even weakens the protections of species that are named as threatened. Now, obviously, this is a move for big business to have them come and just have more power when it comes to whether they want to drill or manipulate an environment for an investment of any sort. But Xavier Becerra actually brought this to light to me and others. He's the Attorney General for California, basically saying this is the time to actually strengthen such provisions when the world's ecosystems are in threat. Keep in mind that a recent report showed that in North America in the past 50 years, 1 billion birds have actually died in the past 50 years. And also United Nations report shows that 1 million species are actually threatened. So green war on graduation. We'll go to Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So Aurelia Skipwith, this is a former executive at the big agribusiness giant Monsanto. You know they being sued. Hey, them motherfuckers trying to sue the pants over them for that Roundup weed killer that actually was found to have glyphosate in it, which is, well, they knew it was glyphosate in it, but glyphosate was found to be cancerous, basically. People getting lymphomas and Hodgkin's lymphomas and all of that shit from it. But that's a whole nother story. Aurelia Skipwith, this is a black woman actually. Senate confirmed her as being head of U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services. Now, this was Trump's nominee for the position. Now keep this in mind, The Guardian actually reports that she used to be part of the Wetlands Water Service for Central Valley, California, and it was part of a team of people who actually have rolled back regulations protecting Chinook salmon and other species. So for her to be in that position, it seems like he must be Trump and the Republicans must be setting shit up for more big business to make more money. Green war on graduation. We will go to Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So EPA chief, EPA being the Environmental Protection Agency, the chief, Andrew Wheeler, had penned a letter to Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, basically saying that they were actually that they need to do something about the water pollution in Cali, which is actually and accusing them of failing to follow the Clean Water Act in addressing the water pollution and how it's being caused by homeless people in California. So, you know, people are kind of like confusing. They're just like bugging because there's really no proof to any of this, at least none that's been put out so far. Now, also, keep this in mind because Wheeler actually threatened to pull back billions of dollars in highway funds, accusing California of just having really dirty air. But keep in mind that the Trump administration has already tried to roll back emission standards that California has tried to impose on car companies out there. So it's like, it just, there's representatives for Gavin Newsom that actually was coming out publicly, basically saying like, there's no basis for this. It just seems like political retribution. Green war on graduation. We'll go to Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Over in Egypt, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi is being accused by a former army contractor through the social media post. He put the accusation out there that he's been, he's corrupt and has been misusing public money. Now, as a result, this sparked a lot of protests. We're talking about thousands of people hitting the streets, and that's actually what happened yesterday in Cairo, Egypt, and in other cities or whatever. Thousands have been protesting, calling for the resignation of this man. And so far this week, nearly 2,000 people have actually been arrested, and despite that police crackdown, motherfuckers are still touching the streets. So they really want a regime change. It would seem to me that this is really the catalyst because el-Sisi has already shown himself to rule with an iron fist. A lot of extra has seemed to be overbearing jailing since he's come into office, crackdowns on public dissent, and even extrajudicial killings in some sense. Back in at the G7 summit that just happened this summer, President Trump was actually waiting on him, talking about where's my favorite dictator. So motherfuckers know what time it is with him. We'll see how this pans out. Green war on graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas actually spoke to the United Nations General Assembly yesterday and basically said that he blasted the United States for their in the Trump administration for their one-sided support of Israel, basically saying they can't be any type of broker for peace if they are recognizing Israel as having the capital be Jerusalem. You know what I'm saying? Which is, that's obviously debated. But also, he even came at Benjamin Netanyahu, who he was basically saying had arrogantly announced, like a week before these elections that took place, I've been telling y'all about, had announced that he was going to, should he prevail in the elections, he was going to annex parts of a bunch of Palestinian occupied territory. And then, he was basically saying, we're completely against this. So keep this in mind as the president of Israel actually threw, you could say, Benjamin Netanyahu a lifeline once they did the prime minister votes and there was no clear winner, basically giving him a lifeline, saying that giving him a chance to form a new government with Benny Gantz, who was also running for prime minister of Israel. Green Wall and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So the U.S. State Department has actually announced that President Trump will slash the number of immigrants allowed into the United States from 30,000, which is already low, to 18,000 over the next year. So, of course, a lot of people are up in arms about this shit. So we'll see what this actually looks like in real life. Sounds kind of hectic, you know what I'm saying? You got people actually fleeing persecution, fleeing torture, all types of atrocities coming from their states. And honestly, the United States has things to do with, why this is taking place. From funding sometimes corrupt governments to, something like Operation Candor, which happened decades ago, but still affects what's happening today. And honestly, a lot of foreign policy shit that goes on could be directed towards Central and South America. A lot of that energy could be directed towards there, but, I digress. To me, this is like Band-Aid type shit. You know what I'm saying? When we should be addressing the actual motherfucking sickness. Green Wall and Graduation. New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So the Trump administration is poised to actually roll back the SNAP program. SNAP being Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. You know what I'm saying? Like this actually provides food aid for people who don't have enough money. For those who, don't know and live in the U.S. and don't really deal with the government or ain't never been broke before. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, but most people who've been broke, had to get government assistance. Y'all know what the fuck SNAP is. So the administration is going to essentially end up cutting off aid for about 3 million people. Amongst these people, we're talking about 500,000 children who's actually receiving free school meals. So we'll see what this ends up looking like in real life. But it sounds like that's a lot of fucking people. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of white people that's going to be mad about this too. Make no mistake. Don't think this is just a black thing. Green Wall and Graduation. World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. I told y'all how shit was getting jumping in Chicago, where you actually have thousands of people that's planning to go on strike. Now, let me be more specific. The Chicago Teachers Union, you're talking about 25,000 educators voted overwhelmingly to actually authorize a work stoppage that's set to take place on October 7th. 94% of these people voted in favor of the authorization. Now, keep this in mind that this is going to happen concurrently, while you have possibly concurrently, because you have 7,000 school support staff members that are actually with a union are planning on doing a work stoppage or going on strike, as well as 2,000 workers for Chicago Park District. So it's motherfuckers that's hard working earners up there that are not satisfied. But the CTU, the teachers union specifically, they're looking for lower class sizes and more staff members. So if there's a chance for employment, hey, somebody got to make this shit happen, y'all. Green Wall and Graduate. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So yesterday, the Senate actually voted along party lines to have Eugene Scalia actually succeed Alex Acosta for the seat of the U.S. Labor Secretary. So I knew U.S. Labor Secretary is Eugene Scalia, who is the son of right-wing Supreme Court Justice who died in recent years, Antonin Scalia. This is the dude that was pro-Citizens United, the Citizens United ruling and all of that, which basically says that, corporations are people too. Never mind, the motherfuckers can't go to jail, you dig? But check this out though. Eugene, so now his son, his spawn, is actually somebody that he's a partner at a huge law firm, Gibson, Dunn and Crutcher, and a lot of his legal work has consisted of opposing labor unions, supporting huge corporations like Walmart, and going against the legal provisions of the Dodd and Frank regulations that were put in place after the 2008 financial crisis. So essentially, they were put in place to protect the people from these vulture-like banks. So, you know, to have this person as the labor secretary doesn't sound too good. Greenwall and graduate. What other new world though? The Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So over in West Papua, there's a reported 32 people that have actually been killed by Indonesian security forces because, you know, Papuans have, and even in last month or whatever, there have been a lot of demonstrations, anti-racist demonstrations, and a lot of calls for Papuan independence. But in this particular scenario, apparently in Jayapura at a university, Indonesian security forces were said to open fire on a group of student protesters, and it ended up killing 4 people. But then in another separate incident where reportedly a teacher had called a high school student a monkey, there was demonstrations that started out in that, and it ended up being a murder of 28 people. So shit is getting real serious over there. We'll see how this pans out. I mean, you have Edison Rami, who's actually a leader in West Papua, who's actually, you know, basically saying like this is, you know, people getting killed every day, like their lives are at threat every day. So we'll see how this pans out, y'all. Greenwall and graduate. The new world though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this BFN report. So in Mexico City, Mexico, there were thousands that actually hit the streets protesting, basically calling for justice to be brought on behalf of the 43 of the disappeared. You know, these are this refers to 43 students of Ayotzinapa Rural Teachers College that were actually abducted, kidnapped, and, you know, never seen since 2014. Now, meanwhile, while this protest was going on, you had actually the family members of these victims that actually were on the Mexico Congress floor holding up pictures of the lost ones and basically calling for justice to be done. Now, Mexican officials have actually hit the media saying they're offering 1.5 million pesos to any evidence going towards finding who kidnapped them, but there's been no results from this. An independent investigation, though, says that the Mexican military is actually involved in the disappearances. I mean, some others say that it had to be the you know, the mafia, and you know what I'm saying. Like, so we'll see what happens though. Will we? Maybe not. Greenwall and graduation though.